said Abu Khadija, subhanallah, I recently heard a lecture of him where he was calling Anwar Al Awlaki a Khawarij, but I wanted to ask, someone who fights the enemies of Allah, i.e. the American soldiers, someone who spent his whole life fighting the soldiers of the Americans who, Basra in Iraq, the Guantanamo Bay and stuff like this, what they do to our brothers, and stores of raping our sisters and stuff like this. Someone who fights these people, the Americans, how can they be called Khawarij? I understand he had mistakes, and he did have mistakes, but he fought the Americans, and they are the probably number 2 enemies of Allah after the Israelis, and number 3 is obviously Bashar the dog. And also, how come the Mujahideen in Syria, he has a problem with them going against Bashar, and he says that they're I don't understand, because Bashar is a Alawi and he's worse than a Rafid, sah?
No, it's a very good question. Very good question, inshallah, alhamdulillah. Regarding the brother's question, alhamdulillah, you've all heard. Very good question. But Anwar Al Awlaki, let me tell you what I know from Anwar Al Awlaki, what I experienced myself from Anwar Al Awlaki. First and foremost, that whatever we have mentioned in the Quran, are you paying attention?
Yeah, I'm writing, inshallah.
Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has mentioned in the Quran, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. This is the principle that we should work with first. That if we differ in our affairs, then take it back to the Quran and take it back to the Sunnah. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. So we will analyze Anwar Al Awlaki by way of the Quran and the Sunnah. We will not look towards the actions that he's done or what he was claiming and who he was claiming to fight. Because the Messenger ﷺ likewise fought against the Quraysh, fought against the disbelievers. He had many battles as well. But within the way that the Messenger ﷺ fought these battles, there is a lesson for us to learn. There's guidelines. Are you listening now?
Yeah, I'm writing. Wallah, I'm listening, but I'm writing.
Okay.
He is typing there.
MashaAllah. The Messenger ﷺ, even in warfare, there was rules and regulations. The rules and regulations. The Messenger ﷺ would not kill the women, would not kill the children. He would spare them, even though they were the enemies. There were certain things, rules and regulations when it came to warfare. That's one. Secondly, we have to analyze what the Messenger ﷺ has given us by way of deen and how we have to solve our problems. Okay, Americans oppressing the Muslims. Israeliyun, likewise, they are open enemies to the Muslims. Okay, we're with you with that. But how do we have to deal with the evil of these individuals? Wouldn't you not agree that you have to fall back onto the Quran and the Sunnah?
Yes.
For example, even if we have an individual that wrongs us, we have to deal with that individual that is wronging us according to what Allah has taught us and the Messenger ﷺ. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Anwar Al Awlaki, when I first ever heard of him, I didn't know. When I was still studying in Medina, I went to visit friends in Dubai. And when I was in Dubai, this is the first time I heard his name. And these individuals, they said to me that there is a new speaker by the name of Anwar Al Awlaki. Have you heard of him? I said, no, I've not heard of him. They said he does very, very good lectures on Seerah, on the history and the Seerah, the life of the Messenger ﷺ. We had very, very nice lectures regarding that. I said, Allah knows best. And I have not heard the major scholars regarding referring to, because normally the people of knowledge, they know the other people of knowledge. Whether you get to hear about them and they recommend you that, or there's a student of knowledge in Yemen, or there's a student of knowledge in Syria, you get to hear. So we never heard about him. They said, yeah, he gives very, very good lectures. This was the first time I've ever heard about him.
Yes.
I went to Dubai about a year after. The same individuals, the friends that I had, he had some companions over there that he knew. When we sat down, the same issue came up about suicide bombing.
That's haram. That's.
It's haram. But listen, I'm getting to the point. About suicide bombing. and it is permissible to be able to take one's life in this manner. So then the debate came. They said to me, what do you say about that? I said to them, it is haram. They said to me, it is permissible. I said, how is it permissible? They said that Sheikh Anwar Al Awlaki holds it permissible to do this. I said, what is the proof? How is that? Obviously, I've mentioned you to Quran and Sunnah. Then they are the ones that, you know, that hadith that mentions that who wants Jannah? Who wants Jannah? Fight the enemy now. And whoever fights the enemy now will receive paradise. They are the ones that brought this dalil to me. They are the ones that brought this to me, and they said that we heard lectures of Anwar Al Awlaki saying that it is permissible to kill yourself and to blow yourself up. And he said that the hadith that you are referring to that is impermissible to kill yourself is the one that has an overdose, or the one that slits his wrists and just sitting at home. These are the ones that where the hadith mentions it's not permissible to kill yourself. As for going out against the enemy and killing yourself and taking 10 Israeliyun or 10 Americans with you, then that there will receive paradise. This is what they said. And they brought me the tapes of Anwar Al Awlaki where he mentioned this. So this is absolutely khata. Thereon after we found out in his tapes that yes, he would talk about the Americans. He would talk about the seerah of the Messenger. He would quote a hadith and he would quote verses. But in between, he would also have the methodology of the Khawarij. What is the Khawarij? Who are the Khawarij?
Are they not those who fight the Muslims and are friends of the kuffar though?
Who the Khawarij?
Yeah.
No, who are the...
Is that not the creed of the Khawarij, that they are friends of the kuffar and they are enemies to the Muslims? They slaughter the Muslims and...
Alright then. The Khawarij that first took their swords against the Sahaba of the Messenger ﷺ. They are the Khawarij. They are the first of them. The Messenger ﷺ mentioned that they are the Khawarij, that they will come to you. He mentioned salatuhum, that their salah, that's what he said, salatukum, your salah compared to their salah is insufficient. Your fasting compared to their fasting is insufficient. Your recitation of the Quran is insufficient compared to theirs. Meaning they had excessive ibadah with them. They had marks on their head from excessive prostration. These are the ones that the Messenger ﷺ referred. He said that they will leave the fold of Islam like how our arrow leaves the bow. He said likewise in another narration that they are the dogs of the hellfire. The Messenger ﷺ mentioned. But if you was to see them, look what the Messenger said about them. He said that their ibadah, their worship is far superior to yours, meaning the other companions. So if we was to see those individuals today, we would definitely say that these are Muslims. These are individuals that look, they read Quran, they pray, they fast, and the Khawarij were known not to lie. Because the Khawarij had that methodology that they believed that if you had a major sin, that you would be eternally in the hellfire. So they were individuals that found that they were upright and righteous. They didn't have friends of kuffar in them days. They were individuals that believed that they were upon the haqq. And then they even went and battled against the Sahaba, the companions of the Messenger ﷺ. Ibn Abbas, he went to them and he debated with them. Some came back, some remained. And then they waged war against the companions of the Messenger ﷺ. And when they killed Ali, when they came and killed Ali, he was a Muslim. Ali is a Muslim. Ali is in Jannah, as the Messenger ﷺ said. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When they fought against him, he struck the sword on Ali's head. And while he was fighting, while he was striking Ali, and who is Ali? Is Ali a Muslim?
Yeah, I've got cousin.
Okay. The point here, I'm not trying to make no mockery. I'm trying to express the point that look at the Khawarij. They believed that they were upon and acting upon the Quran. They believed what they were doing was correct so much that they even draw their weapons against the Sahaba because they felt that the Sahaba are not upon the correct way. And when they were killing Ali, you know what they was doing? They were reciting the verse, whomsoever does not judge that with that which Allah has revealed, then he is a disbeliever. He is a disbeliever. So they was killing Ali, reciting this verse, believing that what they were upon was correct and what Ali was upon was incorrect. What's my point I'm trying to get? That Islam has to be done by way of the Quran and the Sunnah with the correct methodology, the way of the Messenger Muhammad, the way of what the companions were upon, the way they had their methodology in all aspects. These individuals, if we was to see them now, their worship was far superior than Anwar Al Awlaki's ibadah. If we was to see them now, we would not even question regarding their Islam and how strong they are in their deen. Even with that, they were upon manifest error. So the point I'm trying to get at is, it's not merely that someone speaks out against the enemy. It's not somebody that merely says that this person is wrong, these are Israeli, these are other. You have to look at what he's calling to. So Anwar Al Awlaki, yes, he would pray. Anwar Al Awlaki, yes, he will talk about the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would do all of this. He would speak about these people and he would speak about America, we agree. But you can't take the fact away of what he was calling to as well. In between this. And this is why Ibn Abattah, he mentions in his kitab that the people of innovation are such that they will recite to you the verses of Allah. They will mention to you the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when they find a time, and he gave the example of a scorpion, that a scorpion, he puts his head into the sand and then he waits, and when he has a time to attack, then he will come and he will sting you. He said the people of innovation, they are like this, that they will give you Qala Allah, they will give you Qala Rasul, that Allah mentioned and the Messenger mentioned, and while they are saying this, in between they will bring out their poison. And this is the example of Anwar Al Awlaki. Anwar Al Awlaki, we do not speak ill of him because we don't like a certain individual. It's only because the love of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He may speak about seerah like he did, but if you analyze his tapes, within what he's saying regarding the seerah, he would call to this methodology. He would say that it's permissible to go out and declare the Muslim leaders as kuffar.